Joining me now is New Mexico Democratic Congresswoman Melanie Stansbury. Congresswoman, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it.
It's great to be here.
Why do you think we are seeing this, what some are calling a changing of the guard in Congress?
Well, you know, we're right in the midst of a big generational change in our overall Democratic leadership. We have the most amazing team right now after we had an extraordinary and historic team of leadership over the last decade. And I think many members who have been elected over the last, let's say, 5 cycles, you know, are extraordinarily talented. They're ready to serve. There's things they want to do. But I also think we're facing a perilous time as the Trump presidency is gearing up. And so I think many of our members really feel strongly that we have to have the strongest team, the best people, and the best leaders in those roles so that we can fight back and continue to serve.
To what extent do you think some of the criticism of President Biden is playing a role in what we're seeing on Capitol Hill? The fact that some folks felt like he may have stayed in the race too long, the fact that they feel like that ultimately played a role in Democrats losing.
I don't think that that has anything to do with the current congressional races. Most of these races had already begun or been considered before the presidential election. And so, you know, each of our members have different perspectives on these things. I'm a huge supporter of President Biden and of Kamala Harris. I spent many, many months on the campaign trail. But, you know, I think as a woman, I will say this, that the loss of the presidency has really impacted me and my willingness to step up and run. I really felt the call last week when I was asked by Raul Grijalva if I would consider it, because in the 220 years of this committee, there has never been a woman in charge of it. And so the time is now. The American people are hungry for it, and I'm up for the job.
And what do you say to those who say Jared Huffman has more experience, he's the better choice? How do you answer that?
Well, both he and I think in many ways have similar experience. He's been serving in Congress for the last 12 years. I've been serving in Washington, D.C. I started with the Obama administration in 2010. I've worked in the White House. I worked in the Senate. I served in the legislature. I'm also a ranking member. But also, I think I bring a different brand of leadership. I think that my brand of leadership is really rooted in communities, working with tribes, working on environmental justice, working at the forefront of these issues. And also, I think, you know, I've been serving under Jamie Raskin in the Oversight Committee, and I'm excited to bring the model of leadership to natural resources where we really fight as a team and we get things done where we can on a bipartisan basis.
My NBC News Capitol Hill colleagues talked to a Democratic official in the Biden administration, and they said, quote, going into Trump 2.0, there's not going to be tolerance for having members not up to doing these jobs. Do you think there have been folks in House leadership who haven't been up to the task?
No. I mean, I think that, you know, one of the things that's beautiful about our caucus is that we have people of all ages, all backgrounds, all capacities. And I think everybody who comes there to serve fully shows up with their whole heart and all their grit and all their determination. And I just think that as we're facing the Trump administration, we have to have well-oiled committee machines, well-oiled leadership machines, and that we have to know how to serve the American people in an effective manner. And there's a lot of talent out there, and there's a lot of people in our caucus who are putting themselves out there, and I think it's beautiful. I mean, that's what the American people want. That's what democracy is.
Let me have you respond to something that President-elect Trump said about energy. This was today in Manhattan. I'll get your reaction on the other side.
We're going to be ahead of AI. We're going to be way ahead of AI, and we've got to produce tremendous amounts of electricity. You know that. It's unbelievable when you think that we need more than twice what we already have. We have Lee Zeldin in charge of the environment. He's going to be giving us very strong approvals, I think, and he's going to make sure everything's good and clean and proper, but he's going to give us very fast approvals.
What's your reaction to that?
Well, I mean, Donald Trump is certainly no energy expert. We'll all acknowledge that. But, you know, he's made clear that he wants his energy agenda is drill, baby, drill, take us out of the Paris Climate Accords, and to destroy the tremendous manufacturing and clean energy progress we made under this past Congress and the Biden administration. And I think it's going to be bad for the American economy. It's going to be bad for climate change. And, I mean, he has put already nominees that he's put forward we know are bad bad for the environment. And I mean, it's not wrong that we need more technology and we need more electricity and energy, but the way you go about it can have really damaging impacts for the planet and our people.
What realistically do you think you can do that Democrats can accomplish in the minority?
Well, first and foremost, we're going to have to fight back. You know, I think the American people are looking for courage and backbone and grit, and they want us to fight back against what we know is going to come. They're going to try to fire federal officials. They're going to defund programs. They're going to take us out of these big, especially climate and the energy space agreements. But I think the American people are also looking for us to do things that are actually productive. You know, they want to see us working where we can in a bipartisan way. They want us to continue to pass legislation. They want us to pass budgets. And so I think our job is both to defend against the bad, but also to continue to demonstrate every single day that we're showing up for the American people. We're going to fight like hell for them. And we're going to do everything we can to make sure that their lives are better as a result.
Let me finally just ask you a political question. President Biden carried your state by double digits in 2020. Vice President Kamala Harris won it by 6 points this year. Why do you think that is? Why the erosion?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of postmortems about what happened in the election. And I think in the last several days, we're even seeing new information coming forward of the very sophisticated communication strategy that the Trump campaign had. So I think it's hard at this point to really fully understand what we were up against. But certainly the data tell us that the American people are unhappy and feeling the impacts of a difficult economy. And so we got to make sure that we're continuing to address those bread and butter, meat and potatoes issues.
All right, Congresswoman Stansbury, thank you so much for stopping by. Great to see you in person.
Great to see you, too.
Really appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.